talk to you about that role that you occupy and what you do outside of this classroom and the rest of the day when you get back to where you're from. You're the first line of defense because you are the ones who are living with people on an ongoing basis every day to spot things, to spot habits, to understand the cultural or relationship that people have that leads them to certain behavior patterns. For example, let me take the simple word sugar. I come from Hoover, Parliament Village in Hoover, and that is a community. Well, I'm not from Tunapuna, but that's where I came from, Parliament. And that's a sugar. It was until recently a sugar community, sugar cane. A lot of people worked in the fields, and almost everybody that I would listen to, because I love to listen to people's conversations. Come to visit my mother, and she would say, "Go child, go and play." But I listen because I'm fascinated by the language of how they express themselves. And they say, I have a touch of sugar, so bring so, and they're going to eat all the food with all the extra condensed milk. I know somebody who would sweeten sweet drink with condensed milk. And off sugar, because soft drink wasn't sweet enough. And I've been thinking a long time now about this word that people use to describe diabetes as sugar. And thought, what a seductive word it is that you will describe diabetes, which is a killer, as sugar. And when you encourage the use of that word sugar to describe diabetes, you're telling people it's kind of like a little sneaky thing. I'm really not supposed to eat so much cake. I might, somebody who's weight conscious, some calories and so on. But this is diabetes that you're dealing with. And so we have to rethink the way we relate to the simplest thing. And I want to ask you young people to pay attention, because the best research, medical research in the world, comes from observation. It is your eyes, your ears, your senses that become the building blocks for the research that can be so finely tuned to lifestyle that can actually change behavior. So that's why I'm saying that you are the first line of defense, because you are with people. Doctors can only deal with somebody for the time that they're in the office or the time they're in the hospital, which is when they're in trouble. You live with people every day, and it is of tremendous value if at this point in your careers you will acquire the habit of taking notes, of documentation. And you don't even have to know what the documentation, the notes that you're taking mean. They don't have to mean anything to you yet. You may not be able to interpret it, but it is observation that in time, with practice, with further training, and with associating yourselves with professionals as you go on, that is a diary that you've kept about practices in a particular community is going to become the gold in that research project that can be fed into programs that can come back to your community and get into prevention as opposed to cure. Because that is where you want. That's where we all want to go. We all want to focus our efforts at prevention. How can we quickly change lifestyle and our habits? And I tend to believe that is something we can change in one generation. Because all you have to do, and young people have it in their power, to influence older people, especially children, young people. You are the ones who are saying no to that food coloring, no to that sugar, no to that amount of oil in the pot. Let's go and take a walk. Are the children watching too much TV? You are the ones who are hands-on and have the authority and have the eyes to watch and the ears. That you are the ones who could change this entire system that is going into treatment and cure and searching for cures all the time. The other thing that goes on, and I know that some of you are from areas with a lot of green and so, is one of the emerging areas of great study, and I was interested to discover yesterday. I think the New York Times had an article on it. It's the impact of urbanization in rural areas and in forested areas. Now, we don't have all that amount of forest in Trinidad, but we do have enough. that this is where the new viruses are coming from. This is where the relationship with animals and people are mutating things and creating entire new streams of viruses that have our scientists going crazy all the time trying to figure out what is the source of this and what is the source of that. And I'm sure you would have been following what was happening, I think, in Cambodia last week, where 60-something children died of a virus that they could not understand. And that's where, again, you're on the front line, because if you're in a community that has been pushing into an area with a lot of wildlife, you may be in the river, you may be in Rio Claro, you may be in some other part of the country where people are chopping down more and more, and the houses are on borderlines of those. You are the ones who are going to notice things. And therefore, the obligation to read, just read, to attune yourself to some of the possibilities. Again, you play that role of the first line of information. When somebody comes in, when those people with their white masks and coats and so on come, you will be the one to say, we've been noticing all the people who had that they went into this area, or they've been catching, they're hunters and they have this particular animal and so on. So it is a level of alertness that you bring. But that's the first line of defense. What about the last line of defense? The last line of defense is the one where all this storehouse of knowledge that has been acquired in labs and universities and so on are now being fed back to people and taken into communities and into the lives of the people. And you are the one to understand it and to be able to communicate it in helping people to apply that, whether it's through behavior, practices, or even medication, to help them to understand why they're doing what they're doing. I happen to think that one of the most authoritarian professions in the world is that of medical practitioner. And that's our history. I'm sure a lot of you go to the doctor, and the doctor and you probably are among those who say, doctor, you just tell me what to do. You don't really want to understand, you don't want to go through the story. This is God before you, and he said, just tell me what to do and I'll do it. And of course you don't really do it, but you go buy the medicine. But even if you did it, you don't want to understand why you're doing it. And he will scribble or she will scribble something on a piece of paper that you will not understand what it is. So when they ask you, and then you go to the pharmacy and they put a label and cover the name of the tablet, and you just see 3 times a day. That's all you need to know. Well, you don't need to know just that. You need to know what exactly is wrong with you. How is it working and affecting you every day? And you need to understand all the implications of the medication. You as a health person play that role in helping people to change their relationship by you asking them questions. Because the most effective strategy about your health is your own knowledge. You have to know why you're doing what you're doing, because every day you are managing your health. If you have hypertension, you don't have to wait until you get a medical appointment nowadays to go and check your blood pressure. You can get help, whether you apply for the facility through the Ministry of Health, or whether you can afford whatever $200 or something to go and buy a home kit and just routinely check your blood pressure. You get to understand how your body works, and if you can help people to understand, to demystify medicine, to demystify healthcare, and put their lives and the responsibility for their health in their hands, you could have changed a whole life. I learned that by personal experience about how you had blood pressure, a kit, a diabetes kit. My husband died ultimately from combination of diabetes and prostate cancer. Because of the cancer kit. But I understood the value of taking complete control of the knowledge that you need to have. He died, but he lived a lot longer, and he was with us a lot longer, because once we understood it, the management program that you can take charge of for yourself and not have to depend for everything on the doctor to explain to you, to instruct you, can go a long way to improving the quality of life and getting the most out of it. Given the circumstances, most of the lifestyle diseases are manageable. They're not in death centers, and that's what we will also teach people, because we will all die from one thing or the other eventually. But between here and there, what can you do given the hand that you're dealt, or the hand you happen to have dealt yourself by careless living? And you can find that you live with a lot of things, and ultimately what you want is to protect your spirit, and to help people to protect their spirit and joy of life, and not be weighed down by the notion that they've got a disease or they've got some complication that makes life difficult. So I think that is the messages I want to leave you today. First of all, to be fascinated. When you go back home, look around and try to look at the people around you, look at your own families, and be fascinated by them. And understand that they are worthy of the best that you have and the best that you have to give. You can influence the world today by staying in one place because of communication technology. You don't have to migrate and live somewhere else in order to be counted as important. The breakthrough work that you do today, whether you're doing it in Charlottesville or you're doing it in Cedars, you have a platform called the internet that you can share your experiences with. You can connect with people. Of course, I encourage people to travel the world, get to know as much as you can. I think that's a message of the Fulbright program. Engage the world on terms that are yours, and understand that this is a place that needs you and needs the very best of you. So I want to wish you well, I want to wish this program well, and I want you to understand that as young people, you're just about to deciding what you want to do with the rest of your life, and you are in control of determining how that